Hello, 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 everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. This is Five Shark 95, and today we're here at beautiful Grand Canyon National Park Airport. Today we'll be doing part 30 of 63 on our trip. We're almost halfway done with the series, and today we'll be covering Petrified Forest National Park in eastern Arizona today. So we got quite a bit of stuff to explore on today's map. And we have some really fun and interesting flying here this morning, of course. So this national park is really cool. Of course, it's named after its namesake, the Petrified Wood. But this national park can get very hot, and it has a surprising amount of diversity of plants and animals too, despite being in the middle of the desert. So before we get started, I do want to say hello to everyone in chat, the lurkers and mods. I hope you're all having a good morning, your old selves. I hope you're all having a good day. So here's our flight plan, a pretty simple one this morning. We got this one coming up, Grand Canyon National Park. We'll fly all the way to our first stop at Winslow Airport, at Winslow Lindbergh Regional Airport in Winslow, Arizona, on the basis of Old Route 66. Then from Winslow, we'll make our way east, and we'll enter into the national park. We'll fly over the Uranium Springs and Paine Desert. We'll make a landing here, right around here. We'll make a bush landing somewhere around here, of course. Then we'll check out the National Wilderness, fly over here, make our way to the train post. Then from there, we'll head over east, and then we'll fly up through all of this area down here, including all this here, of course. The Blue Mesa, the Agati Bridge, Jasper Forest. We'll fly over all of it. We might do another bush landing around this area here. And then, of course, we'll wrap all of it up at Kilo Tango Alpha Mike. So we'll do that. So that's going to be our airport. That's going to be a pretty simple 2 legs. So we'll be doing that then. So we got the Savage Norton up here this morning. We'll be taking this beauty of an aircraft. So that is where we're going to do today. So our first leg altitude for this morning, for the first leg, is going to be 8,000 feet. So we're going to go 7,500 feet for this first leg. So we're going to go ahead and taxi. So we got 2 legs here today. We'll make our way over to there, of course. Got plenty of notes for today's flight, obviously. So we're going to go ahead and 3 knots, and we're up. So we're just going to do it this way. Say goodbye to Grand Canyon National Airport for our national park. So we're going to head our way over to Petrified Forest, the first leg of the national park stream. So in our left, of course, we can see Grand Canyon National Park. Straight ahead of us is Grand Canyon National Park, the most famous national park here in the state of Arizona, of course. So, plenty of stuff to talk about here today about our national park. We're about 7,500 feet, so we're going to go ahead and talk quite a bit about it. So, once we get back on track, we'll be talking about the national park. So, a bit of other stuff to cover today. The Stanley Cup Finals Game 3 happened last night for hockey fans out there. The Golden Knights won in overtime. They were up 4-0 at the beginning of the third period. Gave up 4 goals to the Hurricanes in the third period, and it took a Theodore goal to get the Golden Knights a win. But yeah, this Stanley Cup has proven to be quite an interesting Stanley Cup, of course. So, we got plenty of stuff to talk about, of course. So, got plenty of stuff to cover over the next couple days, of course. So we're going to go talk a bit about our slideshow. Let's cover Petrified Forest National Park here. Let me post a link to the NPS website from up here. I'll pin this into the thing. If you guys want to check out the website, of course. But Petrified Forest National Park in eastern Arizona is located in the Navajo and Apache counties in northeastern Arizona. It's named after the large deposits of petrified wood. It covers 346 square miles and accommodates semi-desert shrub steppe, as well as highly eroded and colorful badlands. The park's headquarters is about 26 miles east of Holbrook. The site, the northern part of which extends to the Painted Desert, was declared a national monument all the way back in 1906, but it didn't become a national park until 1962. Last year, 315,000 people visited the national park in 2025. One very interesting thing about this, of course, the Petrified Forest is known for its fossils, especially fallen trees that were fallen during the late Triassic, around 225 million years ago. And the sediments contain fossil logs that are part of the Chinle Forest, which the desert got its name. In addition to petrified logs, other fossils in the park include late Jurassic ferns, cicads, ginkgos, and many other plants as well as fauna like giant reptiles called phytosaurs. Large amphibians and even early dinosaurs were found in the site since the 20th century began. And there are also more than 1,000 archaeological sites also here, including petroglyphs, have been discovered in the park. And they remain very, very important today to many descendant communities. Mainly a lot of the native indigenous tribes lived in this area. So pretty interesting stuff. Petrified Forest, really interesting national park to cover. So pretty cool stuff. Really neat little national park. So really neat stuff. Now one of the really cool. Hey, good to see you playing neutral. Good to see you, my dude. And hello, Shaq, as well. Good to see you guys. Oh yeah, it's a neat little park. Probably different than someone would expect. Absolutely, Petrified Forest is definitely different than many of the other parks. There's some really cool things in the national park that I've done a lot of learn about. So a lot of the painted badlands and all that, and of course, all the forest stuff and all the archaeological stuff. There's plenty of really interesting places to visit in the park. So, geography of the Petrified Forest National Park. It straddles between the border of Apache County and Navajo County in northeast Arizona. And the park's about 30 miles long, north to south. Its width is 12 miles north to a minimum of 1 mile between north and south, before widening again to 4 to 5 miles wide. The I-40 along the former Route 66, being as a runway in Puerto River, bisect the park. And there's also a ghost town around the area called Adama. Adama is also found here too. In terms of elevation, at least, the park elevation-wise varies between low level of 5,300 feet along the Puerto River to as high as 6,203 feet at Pilot Rock. The average elevation is around 5,400 feet, and it varies between gentle hills and major petrified wood deposits in the south to the eroded badlands in the north. Most of the park's intermittent streams empty into the Puerto River. While the center part of the park, Cottonwood Wash and Jim Can't Wash flow into the Little Colorado River, which is a tributary of the Big Colorado River further south. So, pretty cool stuff about the national park. Yeah, oh, you've been there. Wow, from the United Kingdom, you've been to Petrified Forest National Park. That's crazy. Didn't think you went there. Now, I've not been there. I think my mom's been around this area before, but not me. Never been around this national park before. But really neat little park. But very neat little park. I think what the main thing people like to do here is, of course, walking, backpacking. Geocaching is also a part thing to do here. And of course, the guide tours. But it's a neat little park. Very neat area, of course. And there's lots to learn from here, too. Yeah, but yeah, they found Coelophysis fossils in here too. Lots of different stuff here, of course, in the park. I had Chico. Oh, you lived in the area. That's crazy. Didn't know you actually used to live there. Now that's something you learn every. I guess I learned something new today. If you look to our right, see this peak over here to our right? That peak over here to our right is Humphreys Peak, the tallest peak in the state of Arizona. Over 12,000 feet in elevation. And yes, there's even a snow resort. There's even a ski resort in this mountain, unbelievably. Which normally, Arizona is normally known for being more of a hot climate state. Though then again, I can say the same thing for New Mexico as well. There as well, of course. But yeah, really, really cool. Really great to learn. I didn't know about that. So one of the really cool things about Petrified Forest is the geology. Now, one thing about the geology of this park and what makes it is, of course, this park is very famous for its fossils, which date around 225 to 207 million years ago. And that was because a lot of the trees and stuff decays. However, a lot of the petrified forest actually was buried underneath the formations, of course, along with sediment. The colorful chinel, which appears in the surface in many parts of the Southwest, is up to 800 feet thick in the park, and it consists of several types of sedimentary rocks, including beds of soft, fine-grained mudstone, siltstone, and claystone, as well as hard sandstone conglomerate stones, and limestone. And basically, exposed to wind and water, it usually erodes differentially into badlands made of cliffs, gullies, mesas, buttes, and eroded hills. And that is something you see all over the park. Now, of course, there's another area where you can find a lot of badlands, and that's all the way up in South Dakota. And we'll get to that in the future. I don't think we have to wait long to get the badlands. Nope, it will be a little bit of a while to get back to badlands, of course. So we'll be getting to there in quite a bit of time, obviously. Another interesting thing is that during the period of the Beta Holchi depositation, which basically that means the sediment, soil, and rocks were added to landform en masse. A large lake basin covered much of northeast Arizona during that time, and the older layers consisted of the fluvial and lacustrine deposits of sandstone and clay, while the upper one contains ash and lava from nearby volcanoes that erupted. And it's still there in some parts of the park, mainly in the Pilot Rock in the wilderness area. It's got some of that deposits. And of course, one very interesting thing about the national park is the fossils. This is a great place for discovering them. During the late Triassic, down trees accumulating in river channels in what became the park were buried periodically by sediment containing volcanic ash. Groundwater dissolved silica from the ash and carried into the logs where it formed quartz crystals that gradually replaced the organic matter. And hence, petrified trees. That's how you find petrified logs and stuff. And petrified wood is all those quartz crystals that took over for the land, of course. Of course, only a small fraction of the logs in most of the park's petrified animal bones have cells in their species that are mineral filled, but still maintain a lot of their organic structure. So it is possible to study the cellular makeup of these original organisms. Other organic matter, however, have been preserved in the park as compression fossils, flattened by the weight of the sediments above until only a thin film remains in the rock. Now, most of the petrified wood you see here in this national park actually belongs to Araucarioxylon arizonica, an extinct conifer tree, while some found in the northern park is from the species of Woodworthia arizonica in Schilderia adamica trees. And these are the main petrified wood comes from those different extinct tree species. And there are at least 9 different species of fossil trees in the park. All of them are extinct, however. And of course, there's tons of other fossils. This area is considered to be one of the richest late Triassic fossil plant deposits in the world. And there are over 200 different species of fossil trees, fossil plant taxa, which include those of the lycophytes, ferns, cycads, conifers, ginkgos, and unclassified forms of different plants. And of course, and finally, for the last part of the slide, the park also has produced some of the most diverse assemblages of fossil vertebrates from the late Triassic. Among them include early theropod dinosaurs, crocodile-lined archosaurs, ancient amphibians, and non-archosauromorphic diapsids. Um, they even found some dicodots are also found rare here as well. But there's some very famous animals found here in fossils. Um, but yeah, some very famous animals found here in the fossils. Tons of animal species. And they even found some new animal species found from the park itself. Most interesting one of those is definitely its own dinosaur, the Chindesaurus. Chindesaurus, which is a theropod that was found around the formations. But yeah, really cool stuff. But yeah, really cool stuff. Lots and lots of fossils here in the park. If you're an archaeologist, definitely be a really good park. So yeah, look at the scenery from up here. Yeah, look at the scenery. So not far from here, if we go straight north, is the Wupataki National Monument. Wupataki National Monument. It mainly serves with nearby Sunset Crater Volcano National Monument in 1924. So this is, I think this is Sunset Volcano National Monument. I think this is Sunset Crater National Monument. Yeah, this is Sunset Crater. This is part of the Volcano National Monument. Yeah, Sunset Crater is going to be, we're going to be flying over that to the east. But some interesting national monuments along the way. Yeah, really cool stuff. Like I said, Arizona's kind of pretty, though, too. Lots of really cool scenery here in this part of the state. Oh, really neat. Sorry, just a little bit tired. Just woke up a little bit. So, being some pretty major areas, of course. Let's see. So, in terms of our stuff for next week's streams, if you guys want to know what's going on for next week, on Friday, our next game day flight will be the World Cup, the U.S. and Paraguay. I think we're going to do some GA flying from Baja California over to Los Angeles. We'll do some GA flying from Mexico into the United States, to Los Angeles from Mexico. We'll do that on Friday, of course. We're going to go back to general aviation for Friday. Saturday is going to be another Firefly Air connection flight, but we're going to do some stuff out of. We're going to do something with the business jets. We're going to go out of Las Vegas, of course, from our US hub in Las Vegas. We're going to take the Citation longitude, and we're going to do from Las Vegas over to. I think we're going to do Las Vegas over to Aspen. We'll do the PZ-24 from Vegas over to Aspen, or Telluride. We're going to go Telluride. From Las Vegas to Telluride should be a pretty intense flight. We'll do that. And then, of course, Sunday is going to be the next national park. We're going to enter part 4 of the series, and we're going to cover one of Utah's other 5 national parks. We're going to be covering Canyonlands, which is the third of Utah's big 5 national parks. Canyonlands, which is going to be really striking. Canyonlands is going to be one of the most striking national parks we've visited so far, or at least among the most striking. And this one's going to be an absolutely insane national park. Is Canyonlands. It's going to be very striking, for sure. So that's what we're going to be doing next week. I'll post to you guys tomorrow morning. I'll post it to you guys, and you guys will know about all of it. I'll promise you guys on that one. So, definitely very striking, of course. And I think we see Sunset Crater to our right. Sunset Crater is going to be that far, but we will be seeing Sunset Crater. Here it is to our right is Sunset Crater National Monument. Here's that to our right, of course. So, pretty cool stuff. In terms of climate, according to the Köppen climate, the Petrified Forest has a cold semi-arid climate. Winter winds can reach up to 60 miles per hour. Summer breezes are lighter, but 10 mile per hour average winds can cause frequent sandstorms in a phenomenon called dust devils, which is basically a short-lived whirlwind that can range between 18 inches to meters tall or more, which some of them can reach altitudes of several thousand feet. Rain is heaviest through July through September, which 42% of the average precipitation falls, and August is the wettest month. Petrified National Park uniquely has a chance of light snow from October through March, though snow cover will rarely persist in the park. So the highest temperature ever recorded at the park was 107 degrees in June. According from 1991 to 2020 is 107 degrees. In the record low, negative 27 degrees in January. So yes, it can reach into negative temperatures, but that's not very likely. Now, of course, the history of this national park dates back to old times, with more than 1,200 archaeological sites. found inside the boundaries of the national park. Evidence suggests that the earliest inhabitants arrived here around 12,000 years ago, with the Clovis and Folsom type spear points being among the earliest artifacts of Paleo-Indians found in the park. Between 8,000 to 1,000 BCE, the Archaic period, nomadic groups established many seasonal camps in the Petrified Forest where they hunted game such as rabbit, pronghorn, deer, and harvested seeds from Indian rice grass and other plants. By 1000 BCE, through the Basket Maker II period, ancestral Puebloan farmers began to grow corn, and between 200 to 500 CE, population grew rapidly. Many families built their houses around Petrified Forest and for the first time stayed there year-round. Now, during the Basket Maker III period, families occupied shell subterranean pits, pit structures, at first on mesas or other vantage points, and later at the base of the bluffs and lowlands, where the soil was better. Settlement power shifted and population size grew during the Paleo I era between 700 and 900 CE, and formed large villages. Now, one interesting thing about it was that during the warmer months, of course, each household helped build large insulated subterranean pit structures to keep warm during the cold winter months, and several adjacent above-ground rooms for food storage and daily activities during the warmer months. Now, during the early Paleo II period, which is 900 to 1050 CE, ancestral Pueblo farmers began constructing above-ground masonry architecture, signaling a greater degree of regional residential permanence. And during the later and early Paleo II and III periods, population size grew rapidly. And by the time 450 CE happened, many of the ancestral Pueblo tribes gathered into large apartment-like building like masonry structures known as pueblos, with 700 people living together in close quarters, and these large villages were often located near important water sources. And they constructed more than 2 of these around the national park, near the middle of the park. However, of course, with all the climate change and stuff, the last residents left this area around 1380 CE. But of course, many of their stuff around the park, such as petroglyphs, images, symbols, have been around the park are still around the park. Now, from the 16th to 18th centuries, explorers looking for routes between the Spanish colonies around the Rio Grande to the southeast and other Spanish colonies of the Pacific coast of the west passed near or through the area which they called El Desierto Pintado, the Painted Desert. However, the park's oldest Spanish inscriptions were left there dating back to the late 19th century. So yeah, it's actually pretty recent, especially when you compare it to the long-term history of the ancestral Pueblos. Of course. When the southwest portion of the United States became part of the U.S. after the Mexican cessation in the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, explorers looked for good east-west routes around the 35th parallel, and in 1853, a crew led by U.S. Army Lieutenant Emil Whipple surveyed along a sandy wash in the northern part of the Petrified Forest. So impressed was Whipple by the petrified wood around the banks of the Arroyo, he named it Lithodendron Creek, or Stone Tree Creek. And one of the members of the expedition, geologist Julius Marco, observed that these trees were from the Triassic period. Now, of course, obviously, there's been a lot of stuff happening during this time. Homesteaders built many of their cattle ranches around the local grasslands in the area until the mid-20th century, and settlers and companies went through here, as well as the Atlantic and Pacific Railroad, and later the BNSF did a lot of railroads pass through the park every day in Route 66. Increasing tourist and commercial interest in petrified wood began to alarm residents of the region, so in 1895, the Arizona Territorial Legislature asked U.S. Congress to make it a national park. And after the first attempt failed, in 1906, the Antiquities Act, signed by Teddy Roosevelt, was used to create the National Monument, Petrified Forest National Monument, as the nation's second ever national monument. Yes, this was the second ever national monument ever. Outside of course, the first was obviously Devil's Tower in Wyoming, which we visited during our trip to Wind Cave. Um, of course, the monument was later then expanded into a national park in 1962, and 6 years after the signing of the Wilderness Act, the wilderness areas were designated in the park. And they continued to expand the park even more in 2004, expanded it to 218,000. That being said, theft of petrified wood is still an issue, even nowadays. Now, in terms of archaeologists and stuff and conservationists, of course, and one of the very first people who visited it, the Perica ruin, was Jesse Walker Fuchs, who visited this area, and he predicted it that it would move many artifacts. And the first one to do the excavation in the ruin was actually John Muir himself, the father of the national park movement, of course. Although he didn't publish the findings, he urged the federal government to actually preserve it. And allowed to do many more research and stuff in the park with excavations by Walter Hoe, did many more surveys. And the earliest paleontological exploration of the region was made by 1899 by paleobotanist Lester Ward, whose material is now deposited in the Smithsonian Institution. And he also collected some fossil material, and they found it the Phytosaur skull in Blue Mesa. And they've done more fossil sites over the years, and even more so nowadays. So that's about the history of Petrified Forest National Park. So we have 4 more slides left to cover, but we'll cover those later. So I think we have room for one more slide until we get back. So I'm going to go ahead and lower the altitude to 6,000 feet. So I hope you guys enjoyed this sort of stuff. Really nice stuff. We're on Southeast Asian server. See if anyone's flying along with us. You guys are more than welcome to fly along at any time you want. Here's our server. We're in Southeast Asian server, and here's our route. By the way, you guys are all more than welcome to. But absolutely cool national park. We're just 141 nautical miles away from our final destination at Kilo Tango Alpha Mike. So that covers the unique history of the park. So I hope you guys have some really cool plans this week. I got more stuff to work on, of course. So, pretty low elevation, of course. We got one. I guess we have 4 more slides left to cover. So, for all of it, but I'm really excited though to be here with you guys on this trip. Really cool areas, of course. So, yeah, you can definitely see the desert here in this part of Arizona, of course. So, I'm gonna look at the weather right now in Petrified Forest National Park. What weather is today? Let's see what the weather is going to be for today at the national park. Holbrook is going to be where it is today. 74 degrees now. The high for today is 89 degrees at 3 p.m. my time, I believe, is going to be 89 degrees. Going to be quite warm today, though at least it's still early part of the summer. So, going to be a very interesting. So there is a couple of slides I do want to cover here. Um, so about the flora and fauna of the park and what makes this a really interesting area, of course. I'm going to go ahead and talk about flora and fauna, and then we can save the last two slides for the next leg. So the next slide, of course, is the flora. There's about over 447 species of flora in the park. 57 of them are invasive, but most of them are endemic here in this area. Although the park is best known for fossils and badlands, its main environment is semi-desert shrub steppe, protected from development and overgrazing for many years. The park is home to some of the best grassland in northeast Arizona. In the northern part of the park, the volcanic soils of the Beta Hochi Formation support abundant plant lines, in contrast to the relatively bare badlands. The rims covered shrubs, small trees, grasses, and herbs. Of those 447 species of plants, the dominant plants are the more than 100 grass species found here at the park, which are native, many of them native here. And many of them included flowering species like evening primrose, Mariposa lily, and blue flax, as well as shrubs such as sagebrush, saltbush, and rabbitbrush. And among the wide variety of grasses, also the native perennial bunchgrass, blue-gama, scanton, side-oats grama, bearded springletop, and bush muhly. Of course, invasive species include the annual love grass and the brome, aka cheatgrass. Some of the trees here that grow in this area include the riparian zones, including the willows and cottonwoods are the largest trees and shrubs, as well as rushes and sedges. And of course, found here is the invasive Eurasian tamarisk, or salt cedar, which threatens native plants by crowding using the available water, increase the soil salinity by exuding salt with the leaves. Now, in terms of fauna, there's some really interesting fauna here. Some of the larger animals roaming around the grasslands, including the pronghorns, black-tailed jackrabbits, Gunnison prairie dogs, coyotes, bobcats, and foxes. Now, pronghorns, fun enough, the fast lands of animals in North America, can run up to 60 miles an hour. And oh yeah, one more thing about pronghorns. Um, Pronghorns are not related to other antelope. They may be called an antelope, but they're actually much more closely related to the giraffe and a copy. So yes, they're actually related to giraffes, unbelievably. Um, Bobcats and bull snakes hunt a lot of the smaller animals like deer mice and antelope squirrels in the riparian zones. Um, they also found a couple bat species like western pipistrelle and pallid bats around the areas, of course. More than 16 kinds of lizards and snake inhabit the park and consume large quantities of insects, spiders, and other reptiles. And the largest and most often seen is the collared lizard. Very interestingly, of course, found in the national park is many bird species. Raptors, songbirds, and ground birds are found in the park's grassland, while the river's riparian corridor is a great place for year-round residents, as well as migrant bird species like warblers and killdeer. While more developed areas can attract western tanagers, hermit warblers, house finches, and others. But the birds commonly seen include the common raven and the western meadowlark. And the largest bird in the park, the golden eagle, which is also found all over the world. But yeah, that's about the flora and fauna here. That's two more slides covered, and we'll be getting ready for our first stop in Winslow. In fact, Winslow should be right ahead of us. We should be getting to Winslow very soon. Um, so, of course, Winslow, the area we'll be visiting, very well-known area of Route 66, originally passed through here. However, when I-40 was built, it bypassed the north of the city. So, and the airport we're visiting to is, of course, Winslow Lindbergh Airport. Um, though this airport has not had any traffic internet commercial service since 1987. It used to be bigger more so in the old days of DC-3s and all that. But here it is. So here we go, guys. But yeah, we're in Winslow. So that's stop number one, everyone. So Beautiful, beautiful stuff here, guys. I really do appreciate all you guys being here today on joining me on this flight. I've really been enjoying it with you guys as always. I enjoy the national park stuff. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, I really enjoyed the 50 States, 50 Streets Series 2. That was a lot of fun. Exploring that with you guys. That was always super enjoyable. Let's stop here. Negative 86, guys. Negative 86 feet per minute. So we'll stop right here for a bit. Hey, we have Cop and Stick with us. Good to see you, Cop and Stick. I hope you're doing well. Appreciate you joining me for this one. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, having a great day. Of course, I've been really enjoying this national park series. It's been a lot of fun. So we're gonna go ahead and prepare for the second to last leg here. We'll get ready to get going for the leg. So Mrs. Winslow used to be on the big Route 66, obviously. Used to connect east through west. I used to do a whole Route 66 series on the channel before. So looking forward to that with you guys. So let's go ahead and get ready for the second leg. So this one, we will be flying, our main altitude will be around 7,000 feet. Then we technically could fly 6,500 feet if we need to. So maybe we'll stick to 6,500 feet for this one. And our heading is going to be 88. So there we go, guys. Now we're going to head our way to Petrified Forest National Park. Looking forward to it with you guys, obviously. So we got 2 more slides left to cover. So we'll go through these 2 slides pretty quickly. And then we'll explore the park. We'll fly over many of the areas and we'll just explore this park through everything we need to explore it for. So here we go, guys. Absolutely gorgeous park. So we'll be making it through here, obviously. we'll be making through here. We'll make our stop. I think we will have one pit stop today. I think we'll land at we'll have at Hozo Point in Chinde Point. We'll get a look at the mesa. We'll have a landing there, and then for the rest of it, we'll explore the forest. But we'll go really low to the ground, 6,500 feet, and we'll just explore the rest of the area pretty low to the ground, so we can take a look at everything around the park. Yep, I see Copper Stick on my wing. Yep, he's managed to keep up with me with the helicopter. Takes a mad skills, Copper Stick. Real skills, my dude. You've always got that. But yeah, absolutely gorgeous stuff. So. Also today, by the way, guys, we have the Monaco Grand Prix today for Formula One. Actually, it's going on right now as we speak. I forgot it's going on right now. Looking for Team Cadillac. Bonus is out. He did not finish. Oh my goodness. Neither is Charles Leclerc. He's not. He's DNF'd. Oh my gosh. Lando Norris is DNF'd again. Verstappen's gone. Oh my goodness. It's not a good day for many of the favorites. And it's been incidentally again he's winning. Then Lewis Hamilton, Hajar, and Russell. But no one from Cadillac still got a point. But Aston Martin is not in a points race either. Oh man, it's been quite the day. So, forgot the Monaco Grand Prix was on. So, I'm going to go ahead and get back to chatting here about the... I'm going to go ahead and get back to chatting about the slides here today. I'm going to have two final slides to cover. And we'll get into the national park. So the first thing is some of the activities here during the park. The park is open every day from Thanksgiving, except for Thanksgiving and Christmas, on a schedule that varies slightly with the seasons. One interesting thing, of course, the Pan Desert Inn, a historic museum and bookstore, is open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. year-round except Christmas. And park clocks are always set to Mountain Standard Time. As Arizona is one of the few states, is actually one of the only U.S. states to not observe daylight savings time. No, really, Arizona does not observe daylight savings. So yeah, very unique. The visitor center, of course, is also around this area. Now, one of the other really cool things, of course, in this park, the visitor center, which is north entrance to the park, offers visitor information and shows a 20-minute orientation movie, timeless impressions, every once a half hour. It has a bookstore, exhibits, and restaurant open from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. and a gift shop, gas station, post office from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. The Rainbow Forest Museum complex is 2 miles north of the park's south entrance, and it contains bookstore, fossil exhibits, and a Triassic virtual tour. Now, of course, there's no campgrounds or overnight lodging at the park, although nearby communities such as Holbrook offer motels and other accommodations. Overnight parking is not allowed, except for the case of backpackers with wilderness hiking permits. Sightseeing is available by private automobile, motorcycle, coach, tour, bicycle, and hiking. The park's 7 maintained hiking trails, some paved, vary from length from 0.5 miles to nearly 3 miles. And these named trails are the Pan Desert Rim, Puerto Pueblo, Blue Mesa, Crystal Forest, Green Giant Logs, Long Logs, and Agate House trails. And there's also 9 recently developed day hike routes on largely unpaved and unmarked routes called off the beaten path hikes. Rangers also offer a variety of programs about the park, including the Painted Desert Inn Tour, a Triassic program at the Rainbow Forest Museum Sunroom, a talk or walk along the Giant Logs Trail behind the museum, and a Puerto Pueblo walk. It even hosts special events to Earth Science Week and the National American Indian Heritage Month. These are just some of the activities at the park. There's quite a few of them. If you have the national website link on your link, it'll give you more detail about all the activities you can do here at the park. Really cool stuff to learn about. And the last thing going forward, but the last thing in the last slide for today is the Painted Desert and what gives it its unique name. And the Painted Desert area is located in the Four Corners area, lying near the east end of Grand Canyon National Park and southeast into Petrified Forest. It's most easily accessed from the north portion of the national park. And it was named by a Spanish expedition under Francisco Vasquez de Coronado during his 1540s quest to find the 7 cities of gold. He located these some 40 miles east of the Petrified Forest National Park, and he found that these cities were not made of gold. He sent an expedition to find the Colorado River to gain supplies. And passed through this area was a wonderland of colors, which they named it El Desierto Pintado. The desert is mainly named for a lot of composed of stratified siltstone, mudstone, and shale in the Triassic Channel Formation, which eroded pretty easily. And a lot of the colors here contain a lot of iron and manganese compounds, which provide the pigments for the colors of the region. So lots of stuff, and that's what gives the painted desert its unique color. Sorry, just going on. And mainly the climate is very warm in the summer, but it can get pretty cold in the winter. So that's it about the Painted Desert. And that's the last slide for today, of course. So that covers our slides, guys. So now let's get to exploring Petrified Forest National Park. So let's get ready to focus on that. So we're getting pretty close. We'll turn left. We'll make our way to our landing spot at Hozo Point. At Chinde Point, we'll be able to see some of the Petrified Forest wilderness. So that will be where we're going to make our bush landing for today. That'll be possibly one of our only bush landings today. And the other one, I think we can make the landing at the Pueblo. The Puerto Pueblo, we might do our landing there. Or the Blue Mesa. We might land near Blue Mesa. We might do a landing there, and that'll be it. I think that would be one of our only places we'll definitely be exploring. So yeah, we got some pretty interesting landing sites here today that I'll be looking forward to you guys. So, pretty cool stuff. In general. Mm. Mm. So, yeah, looking forward to the World Cup next week. I'm pretty excited for that. I know that the United States is going to have some pretty interesting challenges. Group D is going to be um, pretty interesting, at least, with Turkey, Australia, and Paraguay. I mean, those all teams could be a threat potentially in the World Cup. That being said, they're not the favorites. They're definitely nations who are definitely be much stronger. But I think it would be wrong to count the Americans out, especially that we're the host. So, yeah, Antonelli is going to probably win again. He's won 4 straight already. Antonelli has won 4 straight GPs as a rookie. Here it is, guys. We're about to finally arrive into the national parks. We're mainly going to also enter into the national wilderness, of course, first. So basically, the plan is simple. We're going to get through the wilderness first, and go into the national park itself. And make our way through the south with Agate Bridge, Jasper Forest, the Crystal Forest, and Agate House. So, So here it is, guys. We're about to arrive into the national park. Look at the scenery here. We finally entered into some really cool place. So we finally entered here. You definitely see all the Badlands in this area. These are made the Badlands in this area here. So our first landing is going to be pretty soon. We'll land here at the Pocono Point. It would be one of our 2 pit stops. The other one being Blue Mesa, of course. So a lot of you guys are here. I'm really happy to see all you guys here today. So we're going to head over to here. So we got really cool stuff here about this national park. So we're gonna get the Badlands. So this whole area here is all Badlands mainly areas here in the national park. And further in the distance, if you look to our left, we might be able to see a few buttes in the area. See that over there? That is one of the many buttes around the northern edge of the wilderness. And we're going to be checking out one of them, Pilot Rock. Which would be pretty cool to see. So, yeah, really cool stuff. Yeah, this is what it looks like early in the morning. Right back to its time. I just put it right back to its proper time, of course. So we're going to make a landing here at one of the points. And not far from here is the Desert Inn. So technically we will see the inn, of course. So what we're going to do here, guys, if you're here for the first time, we'll do a bush landing. And then we'll exit out the plane and we'll see what it looks like from up here. But that way it'll give us a whole new perspective of looking at the national parks. And plus, it'll take advantage of the walk around feature too, which I think it would be really cool to see. So this autopilot off. So there. If I crash it, at least I don't have any crash damage on. So there's the in. There we go. That's not that bad of a land at all. Not bad at all. Always just treat this like a car and just drop. Just gotta find a good way to park. Right here. Perfect. Sorry about that. I had to. So right here is the Chinde Point. I wanted to visit here at the top of the peak. Look at that. Look at that, guys. That's crazy. And if you guys want to know where these pictures are going to be going, they're in my Discord. I hope the bot's updated enough. Here's the Discord. So this here is the wilderness, the national wilderness area is located around here. In front of us is the Pilot Rock, one of the major buttes here at the park. Here at the park, but you can definitely see all the really cool desert scenery and stuff. Yeah, really, really cool. Really neat scenery, guys. This is nice. So let's get back into the plane. Let's go ahead and keep going. So look at that. That was a really stunning trip. But yeah, I told you the views from here are absolutely incredible. really neat area, of course. So yeah, this is the National Wilderness area here. Petrified Forest. So we'll go from here. We'll turn right here at Pot Rock, and then we'll continue on another 8 miles to the right. So we'll check out more of this wilderness. Like I said, really striking place. And then after we went to the next waypoint, we'll go .59 nautical miles left to go for this one. So we'll get through this one pretty quickly. Beautiful stuff here. So hope you guys are loving the stream. If you want to support the channel and enjoy the stream and want to continue to support it, smash that follow button. We stream every single Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time or 1500 Zulu time. Yeah, look at the wilderness here. This is just really, really cool. Just look at this wilderness. This, man, the wilderness here is crazy here. Stretches for miles across this area. Yeah, sadly, there's no petrified forest when we get down to the ground, of course. But at least we got a really striking piece of wilderness here to visit. And it looks like it's a victory for Antonelli. It looks like he's going to win again. Antonelli's won his 5th straight race. And yeah, Kimi Antonelli won at Monaco. I'm not surprised. Cue my surprised Pikachu face. Oh wait, I'm not surprised. Um, so here we go. So here we go, guys. We're about to make our way over to So we're about to enter now into the national park itself. So we're going to do pretty good, guys. So this is the Wash, one of the water reservoirs here at the national park. So we'll go ahead and turn left. We'll turn right here soon. So here we go. So we'll do that. So yeah, this is the Wash. Goes through this area. Look at that. That's pretty cool. Hmm. Basically, we only have a bit more left to go. We got one last pit stop at Blue Mesa. Or we can just fly over Blue Mesa if you guys want to. I'll let you guys be the one to decide that. So we're just gonna fly through Blue Mesa here. So this here is Adama, which is the old ghost town, of course. So this is the Puerto Pueblo. Coming up here is the old Pueblo. Let's see how many pictures I got. 1, 4, 5, 6, 7. This here is the Blue Mesa. So here it is, guys, Blue Mesa. Really cool stuff. Go ahead and turn. So going down this way, we got the Jasper Forest and all that here. So yeah, you can see all the different Badlands here. So yeah, we're getting nearly done with it. And then, of course, St. John's Airport. So here it is, so the Crystal Forest down here is the Crystal Forest scenery. There's Crystal Forest down over here. So, and then our final waypoint, that is the Agate House. So there you go, guys. That is our last waypoint. Okay. I guess that's going to be our last waypoint, and then we'll head to the final stop, Kilo Tango Alpha Mike. So, guys, thank you all for coming with me today. I know this was quite a bit of an early morning stream, but we'll get this in under 2 hours. It's a new record. So we'll just go through to so that pretty much covers our last stop. Now that's the Gati house over in this direction. And now we're gonna head to our landing spot, our second last landing today. Our final stop, Kilo Tango Alpha Mike. St. John's Airport, right on the banks of the Little Colorado. Hmm. Hmm. So here we go. Our little airstrip should be not far from here. our airstrip is down over here, about 3 miles away. And there you are, guys. We did it. Our last stop is done. So that completes our final leg of the trip. I hope you guys enjoyed our trip to Petrified Forest National Park here in Arizona. So we're going to find someone to raid. I'm going to check, see who's available for us to raid. I think we're going to raid. I think we're going to do some raiding on Kaharia today. We'll check out Kaharia and her channel. So we'll raid her. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and I hope your week goes well for you guys. See you on Friday in Mexico. Take care, everyone, and have a great rest of your day. Goodbye, everyone, and see you all again soon.